Hey, today I wanted to talk with you about how to build and define a go-to-market strategy. So there are going to be several strategies that you can take to build your go-to-market strategy. And one of the ones that I like the most is the 7Ps or even the 4Ps of marketing. The idea of getting a product into the market, of go-to-market, is that you want to make sure that once you build the product, when you are planning to build the product, you have a plan and a strategy to get that product to the customers. So the reality is that this is the connection between the building and the production and the creation of a product with the business side of building products or building a business around those products. So in summary, how do you get to sell them? The 7Ps and the 4Ps basically stand because all the words that define those different strategies for the go-to-market start with P. So now let's go through all the Ps that define your go-to-market strategy. The first one is going to be your product. Obviously, you had to build a product. You had to have a product that solves a problem that customers have. There has to be a sizable market out there that is needing a solution for a problem they have. Your product is going to solve that problem. And of course, you're going to have to take into account many things to have a good go-to-market strategy, like the branding of your product, who are the personas that you are solving, what is the value proposition of your product, and how it compares to other products out there. So its unique value proposition or its key value propositions. The next is going to be the place. The place is going to define where you're going to sell your product. Typically, as I said, I talk about software products because it's where I have experience. So where I see that those products are going to be sold typically are going to be e-commerce, directly in your website, through some app store. And sometimes there's going to be also the type of sell that you are doing. This can be sales or one-to-one sales. So one person, salesperson goes and talks with a potential customer, or it can be direct sales through some online platform. And you also had to define if you are going to work with other companies to help you expand and sell in certain areas where maybe you don't have Salesforce or you don't have people to actually do the sales yourselves, and there you are working with some kind of partner. The next one is going to be your price, and there's going to be obviously many different ways of doing pricing, and it depends a lot on what type of product that you're building and that you're selling and how much value you're giving to the customers. Is going to have different prices, and you're going to use different pricing strategies. Probably I could do a whole video on how to do pricing because it's a very big topic on itself. But even if you go to the very basic and typical ways of pricing software products nowadays, you will go into something like a license, deciding if product is actually purchased or is subscribed to, and this kind of things that is going to help the customer understand what kind of purchase decision they're making, basically. The fourth P is going to be promotion. Here you're going to talk about how you're going to promote your product to your customers. Why? Because your customers had to find out your product. They had to find out about your offering. This is something that is very important, because this is what it defines usually the beginning of your funnel. This is the widest part, the top part of the funnel, and this is the way that they are going to enter. Probably you could also divide the funnel in several layers. That's a different story, but even within the promotion side. But the idea here is that how are you going to advertise? How are you going to promote? Where are you going to talk about your product that the potential customers that are looking for your product are going to find about it? You want to talk about your product where your customers are. This is the most important. If your customers are in Reddit, talk in Reddit. If your customers are in YouTube, talk in YouTube. If your customers are in events, go and talk to them in those events. Whether they're physical, whether they're virtual, it just doesn't matter. You have to be on the place where they are going to listen to you, because if you choose the wrong channel to do promotion, nobody's going to hear because they are not your potential customers. They are not there. They're in another place. That's something that has to be part of your research. The next P is going to be people. Do you have the right team to build your go-to-market strategy? Do you have, for example, a marketing team, a customer success team, support team, a sales team, the management to actually build and manage these teams? Do you have all those people? If you don't have it, you might come with the greatest plan ever. You're not going to be able to execute it. And you have to take into account that you cannot hire the people. For example, I've seen it many times, people and companies hire customer success people or support people really late in the process, and then hope that that's going to work. But the reality is that these people need to be trained, they need to be on board, they need to really be productive to actually be able to do their job. This is very important because otherwise they're not going to be able to do their job. So make sure that you also have a rollout plan and when do you have to do those hires. And this applies basically for all the phases of the go-to-market strategy. I should talk about that in the end of the video. The next P is the physical evidence. The physical evidence, usually what is going to tell or what is going to show to other potential customers is that there's other people, third parties, either they are customers, partners, whatnot, reviewers, influencers even, that have reviewed your product, that have used your product, and that they have an opinion of it that they want to share with the world. You can see this all the time in YouTube with people doing reviews of product, whether they are users, whether they're just reviewing the latest tech gadget that has come out, like some iPhone, for example. This is very common, and this is something that is very sought out, something that people put a lot of importance to make a purchase decision. Something you have to take into account, something that you should pay attention and put as part of your go-to-market strategy. You can do this by contacting customers, happy customers that are using your product, sometimes even critical customers, but critical customers that have a constructive criticism, obviously, and also influencers or people that have a voice, or thought leaders, you could call them as well, that have a voice in your industry where you're selling that product that is going to help those potential customers make the purchase decision. And finally, there's going to be another P, which is the process. This can apply to the internal processes, that do you have them in place, but also the processes for doing services and so on that you are going to need, maybe not just how to work internally, but how to, for example, support and maintain the actual product in the future. This might be something that companies need. In software, usually this could be something like, for example, how do you call them? Sorry, I'm blacking out. Solution architects that are going to help implementing the product into the company. Or integrating the product into the company. Very common in enterprise products. You can also consider as a process the internal processes that you might have to change. For example, if you don't have a DevOps team because whatever reasons, and you're building a cloud product, you probably had to look into having a DevOps team. That's something that is a process, and it's not just about bringing the people, it's about to change the process that you have in the company, the ways of working that are going to help you adapt yourself to what that new reality of creating the product is. This is very important, something you have to pay attention again to. So those are the 7 Ps. And I also said that there's the 7 Ps and the 4 Ps. The reality is that the 7 Ps and the 4 Ps is kind of the same framework, is that this 4 Ps is a smaller set, and it actually overlaps with the 4 ones that I said in the beginning. So product, place, promotion, price. That's the basic 4 Ps for a go-to-market strategy. Why? Because you could consider that, well, people should be part of the regular way of working of the company. Processes, same thing. And you could consider also that the physical evidence is part of the promotion. I've seen it many times done that way. So that's why in some cases they talk about only 4 Ps. Of course, you could just move those other 3 Ps into parts of how to improve all those other strategic areas within the go-to-market. So you can choose whichever you think is going to work best. If you have not done it ever before, I would say go for the 4 Ps, start simple, start small, grow and build from there. If you try to go for something really big, it's going to be hard to implement. Just something that is always better to start small, learn your way up, and then you go and move to something more complex. So what are your strategies to implement a go-to-market strategy? Please share with us in the comments below. So these frameworks, as always, they are frameworks that are going to help you to remind you of those important things that you have to take into account when you are defining a go-to-market strategy. This is why having a framework is very important. This is why having something like the 7 Ps or the 4 Ps of marketing is going to help you defining your go-to-market strategy. This doesn't mean that they're perfect. This doesn't mean that you don't have to take other things into account that might not be cover in this case. And there's pre-work that needs to be done in order to make this successful. So understanding and identifying, for example, those potential customers that are going to be your potential customers, obviously. Who are those personas? Who are the different type of personas that you have, like buyer persona, user persona, whatnot. There's going to be many different personas usually that you had to contact and that you had to address their worries, because they are going to be decision makers in purchasing your product. Understanding all these things is going to help you a lot, making a successful go-to-market strategy. And for me, one of the best ways also to define your go-to-market strategy is to combine all this with a customer journey, because a customer journey is going to try to take the point of view of your customer and actually make the journey of purchasing your product and experiencing your product much more relatable, understanding that what are going to be those interactions that the customer has. You can have a more empathetic way of planning your product. Why is this important? Because this is going to make your customers much more decided to purchase your product, because you are taking their point of view and you're already addressing some potential concerns that they're going to have if you don't think too much and you think only from your point of view as a person, as a company, and whatnot. So if you want to know more about what a customer journey is, go check out this video. I will see you in the next video, and remember, stay safe.